our group's Beatitude was number 4, and it says, "Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be filled." So what we decided to do was to go around and meet people who are physically hungry and thirsty, and just kind of get to know them and get to know their story.
All right, story time. So back at home during the summer, back in Louisville, Kentucky, I worked at Penn Station. And we had this one homeless guy that came in every single day and got a cup of ice. One day I decided to, buy this man a meal because something deep down told me just get this man a meal. So I got him a meal. Got him a 6-inch steak with a small fresh cut and lemonade on the side. But this man was real thankful for it. He was happy. And even though he was deaf, we still found a way to have a conversation. He wrote down majority of the stuff. He wanted to say. He told me about his life and how he struggled with drugs, how he struggled with him losing his brother, how he struggled with the loss of his job, just all this pain and heartache he had in his life. But even though he had all this pain and heartache in his life, he still found a way to be happy with the life he was given. He still felt blessed. Even though in our eyes we feel like he's living a terrible life, everything is just going downhill for him, he still finds a way to feel blessed. He was blessed. He felt blessed that he woke up that morning. He was blessed when he got that sandwich. He was blessed that nothing happened to him, the rest of that summer. He just felt real blessed. And that just shows how a lot of people are in the world. They'll take their blessings and complain about it. But he took his blessings and just ran with it. He didn't complain. He didn't never said it wasn't good enough. He just took it and he was happy with it. While most would just be like, that's all you got, God? I don't get nothing else? That's just real, what is it? Privilege. A lot of people that are privileged are like that. Not all of them, but a good chunk. But yeah, that's the story.
Okay, so we interviewed Tony, age 47, from Newport, Kentucky. We delivered him food and a blanket.
Tony was born Trenton, Tennessee, moved to Kentucky when he was 14, played basketball and baseball. He said basketball was his first love. He had a Division II scholarship to a school in Mississippi. First semester he dropped out because he said he partied too much. That's when his life started to change. Tony began really getting into drugs and alcohol. And his family tried to help him out, but he basically said he turned his back on them. He also said, now that I look back on it, I wouldn't probably change anything, even if I knew what I know now. Then he said he doesn't regret it. He had fun, but he wishes he finished school so he could have a better life right now. Throughout the years, he tried to turn his life around, tried to get a job, tried living home to home. He said it wasn't fun for him. He didn't feel satisfied. So he started living his life carefree. Constantly said no regrets.
Tony said he sleeps wherever he can, changes on most nights. Tony does not have a job. He mostly just walks around trying to get handouts and take whatever people will give him. Tony is trying to stop drinking, but it's hard because it helps him forget what happened in his past. Tony was a very funny guy. He liked to joke around. Sometimes they weren't even funny, but we laughed. He said he could try to get a job, but he doesn't know if it would satisfy him, so he doesn't know if it would really be worth really working hard to do something that he doesn't like. But overall, Tony was very thankful for what we did to him and very thankful for what people have done for him in the past.
So I was able to sit down and meet a man named Thomas. He was about 50 years old, and he was from Cincinnati. I got him some Subway, so we got to sit down and eat. And I could tell that he just really valued the conversation that I stopped to have with him. I don't think he gets that a lot for various reasons. People who physically hunger and thirst may not get a ton of attention, and so this was a good eye-opening experience for me, as well as I hope the rest of the class, based off the Beatitude that we got to talk about this week. People that physically hunger and thirst most likely also hunger and thirst for righteousness, and to be accepted back in the community. And that's what I was really feeling talking to Thomas throughout our time together.
Okay, so over the summer, I worked at a minor league baseball stadium for the Akron Rubber Ducks. I was a cook, and so one day I was heading home from work, and I have to walk out of the stadium to go to my car. And I ran into this guy, his name was Jack. And so Jack was telling me, he explained it as his son had like a very complicated heart issue, and he had to get medical treatment right away. And Jack wasn't in like the best place financially. And he said his wife had left him and kicked him out of his house. And so he was homeless and he was struggling. And so what I did was I went and I took food to Jack, because when you work at, like, when you're a cook, you get to eat for free, like at your stand where you work at. And so like I hadn't eaten that day because like I got sent home early. And so I went back in and I made Jack a hot dog. I also got him a drink, and like you get a bag of like peanuts or chips like for a side or something. And so I took that back out to him, and I felt like I was doing my part to help Jack like get back, not necessarily get back on his feet, but just give him a little something to like get him by.